third interview between these two. My preliminary thoughts are first that Andrew Tate is very good at speaking English. I'm not, as you can see. Only one mess up. I'm not going to mess up again in this video. But he's very articulate. Very, very articulate. Very charismatic. So I'm going to go over, that's just the overarching theme of all of this. You can learn a lot from listening to charismatic people. Now, what did I find good? What did I find bad about this interview? What did I like? What did I not like? Andrew Tate dropped the biggest COVID red pill I've ever seen allowed on YouTube. It was crazy. I can't believe something like that was allowed on YouTube. Whether it's everything about COVID. I can't get into it because this video may get flagged. I've already got flagged once for talking about COVID. Or I got a warning strike. It was a real strike, but it was just a warning because it's my first one. So I'm not going to delve too far into that, but he's completely right about COVID. Yeah, leave it at that. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about his case, but I'm going to talk about Andrew Tate's weaseling. Okay, because to me, he's not a very good weasel, but to the average person, he's a good weasel. Now, what is a weasel? I don't want to say he's literally a weasel, but he's good at weaseling. I'll put it like that. Weaseling is basically not answering questions and getting out of it. Now, there's certain situations where this was a good thing, and certain situations where this was a bad thing. When talking about and this was funny to see, he was talking about how he has hundreds of millions of dollars, and Piers pointed out, well, didn't Romania take like 17 million or something like that? And Andrew Tate just smiled, like, well, yeah, they did. So he slipped the tongue there. Rare mistake. Literal mistake, as in he didn't mean to say it. Rare mistake made there by Andrew Tate. But he weaseled out of it. So in that case, like when you're talking about your legal stuff, it's fine to weasel. But something was very telling when it asked, well, was your webcam businesses moral? Now this was obviously a setup question because this came out of the blue. Right? So it's clearly a setup question, and it was a setup question for saying, well, you made money immorally. That's what Piers wanted to do here. So I understand why Andrew didn't want to directly answer the question, but at the end of the day, this is the type of thing you have to admit is immoral, because it is, at the end of the day. I don't believe there's any type of justification you can provide for this business model. Especially as a Muslim, which I'll get into later. But he weaseled around it. He didn't directly say it. He said, well, people, because the weaseling doesn't work in a situation like that. No, I didn't. Because he was talking about, well, what about these drill artists who talk about selling drugs, doing all this stuff? And it's like, yeah, that's all bad, but that's not relevant to the question. The question is, was your business immoral or not? Well, he was like, well, I did it 10 years ago. Well, that's not relevant either. 10 years ago, and I guess I wouldn't do it now. Again, it doesn't really answer the question. I don't see why, because thankfully he has moved away from. If you remember Tate's old content, he showed a suggestive content essentially all the time. Explicit, softcore, you know what? You can see it on his channel all the time. He posted it all the time. Now he doesn't do that anymore, which is good. But I still haven't seen him straight up say, what I did was wrong. Never seen him say it. Which, when you're given a direct question, it is something that you should do. Especially when you're talking about webcam businesses. As a Muslim. So I'm getting into that now. Now, I don't want this video to just be a Andrew Tate smear post. Because overall, Tate did win the interview, debate, whatever you want to call it. He did a good job overall. But it's easier to talk about the bad rather than the good. Because most of the good came from when you're talking about his case. And that's not something I'm going to cover in this video because, I'm going to get some nerd and comes like, well, did you know about this document from the case that says this and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, I'm not looking into the case. I'm making an inductive inference that he is innocent. Based on history, based on what I understand about the case, common sense, this, that, and the third. Now, back to Islam. So, this has been a criticism I've had of Tate for a while. His reason for being Muslim is not good. Essentially, he says, well, the Muslim people are doing good things, and they're standing up against this, that, the Christians are jelly-legged, so I'm becoming a Muslim. That's non sequitur. Does not follow, therefore, that Islam is true. And this is an issue I was talking about. This is not just Tate. This is the general sphere. Sneeko, this, that, and the third. They treat religion like some badge, right? Some badge, pins. Like, well, it doesn't look that good anymore. Okay, throw it out. Put a new one on. It's not just some badge or pin you could switch out. This is religion at the end of the day. Because I made a video about this. At the end of the day, let's look at it like this. The Christian thinks that the Muslim's going to go to hell. The Muslim thinks the Christian's going to hell. The Christian thinks the atheist is going to hell. The Muslim thinks the atheist is going to hell. Eternal suffering. Okay, that's the wager. These are the stakes we're playing with here. So this is not just some little badge. You're like, well, I want to have some 4 wives, so I'm going to put this pin on. Or, well, I like the story of Jesus, so I'm going to put this pin on. No. You need to be able to justify your reasoning logically, because this is a very important question. At the end of the day, it's the most important question of our lives. And they just throw these pins around like it doesn't matter, because this is where philosophy and logical reasoning are important. And his reasoning for being a Muslim is a non sequitur. It's bandwagon fallacy. Because Christians are jelly-like, which they are. I made videos about this. Christians are ignorant. Christian men are losers. I'm a Christian myself. I'm disappointed in my own team. But it does not follow logically from that Christianity is therefore false. It just means that Christians are jelly-legged. Now, Muslims standing up against the schools, doing bad things to their kids, this, that, and the third, don't want to get the video flagged. It doesn't logically follow from that Islam is true either. What should happen here, and this is what I would like to see Tate do, is provide an inductive or deductive argument that Muhammad is the prophet of Islam. Because at the end of the day, that's what the claim is. We have to be logical here. As he says, that's a phone call. Excuse me. At the end of the day, he says, let's be professional. And let's be professional about this. Provide an inductive or deductive argument that Muhammad is a true prophet of Islam. Because at the end of the day, that's the argument that Islam makes. Christians say, okay, Jesus rose from the dead. Muslims say, Muhammad is a true prophet of Islam. Let's provide arguments for both and compare them. And when you look at it, I think any rational person look at the evidence and realize, well, this claim is far stronger than this one. There are almost no negations behind this one. There are tons of negations behind this one. I haven't actually ever seen an argument for Muhammad's prophethood. It seems to be presupposed, if anything. So, I would like to see Tate talk about that. And I've seen him say, because he kind of plays both sides, and this is the weaseling I was talking about. He says that, well, we're both of the book at the end of the day. And what is that? Oh, it's a bird. Okay, excuse me. But anyways, he says, Christians, Muslims, we're both of the book. And that completely ignores all the Hadith verses and the Quran verses. Says, well, I'm not sure if this is a Quran, but I know in the Hadith it says, death to Christians and Jews. Quite literally. It says, there's a lot of disparaging comments about Christians. And at the end of the day, under Islam, Christians are committing shirk. When I say Jesus is the Son of God, I'm committing shirk by Islamic standards. So you can't play both sides here. Either one is false. Either both are false. One is true, the other is false, or this is true and that's false. You can't have both. I understand he's trying to, win the culture war and he's trying to bring as many people to his side, but at the end of the day, this is more important than that. This is your own soul here. If he died tomorrow, I believe that he would go to hell as a Christian. And as a Muslim, if he takes the teachings of Islam seriously, he believes the same about me. So I didn't want to turn this to Andrew Tate bashing post because I actually like the guy. I like him. I'm a fan. I would consider myself a fan, but this is the weak point I believe he has. Or it is the weak point, actually. Let me not put it in quotes. It is the weak point he has. It's about religion. I would expect someone as intelligent as him to know more about it. Now, let's see. Is there anything else about the interview? What about Piers? Oh, yeah, Piers. So, well, this is something I forgot to talk about. Andrew Tate, essentially, they were talking about his posts, right? And he says, well, I want my girl to do this, I want my girl to do that. Traditional stuff, right? And Piers was coming along and was like, well, this is misogynistic or whatever. I was like, wait a minute. The definition of misogynistic is hating women. I don't see, it does not logically follow from what is said here that he hates women. At most, you could say he's sexist. But if you believe having traditional gender roles is sexist, then more power to you. All right, I don't care. I guess that makes me that, I suppose. But Piers was breaking his balls at this point because clearly the post was made in a sarcastic tone. And Piers was like, "Well, does that mean you don't mean when you say?" It's like, bro, hold on. Sarcastic tone doesn't mean you're actually being sarcastic. There's a difference. There's nuance. And if I were, because the thing is, Piers is supposedly a Catholic, right? So what I would have done is I would have actually, my main Bible's in my room, but I have my pocket New Testament here. I would have said, okay, Piers, sir, please bring my Bible. Piers, all right, Piers, I know you're a Catholic, and I'm a Christian, but at the end of the day, the text says the same thing. And I'll just read in verses. Women are supposed to be in full submission. Women are supposed to learn quietly. It is a disgrace for a woman to speak in the church. This, that, and the third. Women are saved by birthing children. Women are homemakers. That's what it says in here. Okay? And we could read it. And that would pin Piers. Because it's no longer, well, I believe this, I believe that. As well, how about your book? Are you actually a Catholic or not? Are you actually a Christian or not? Now, obviously, Tate couldn't really do that because he's a Muslim. But that's what I would do at this point. Because we're talking, because such, I'm tired of liberalized society. And I'm going to make a video about that. Everything is so liberal now. Oh, do whatever you want. No gender roles. Abort your kids. Yes, come to the country. Yes, yes. We have no standards. We have no nothing. Yeah, women, sleep with as many men as you want. Men, no, you can't be men. You can't be men. Having muscles, that's toxic masculine. I'm tired of liberalized society. I prefer the more conservative days where women were women and men were men. Men, if you're a man, you do these things, and you don't do these things either. And if you're a woman, you do these things, but you don't do these things either. Those type of societies are the ones that are the happiest and work the best. So Tate was right there. Now you could say, well, he's being a sugar daddy. If you take into account he's making a joke here, the general principle is men take care of women, right? And women are servile to their man and their family and their home. Now I know it says, well, women are servile. I'm tired of it, all right? That's the word used in here. All right, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to tiptoe around it like, well, I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't care. It's my book. All right? This is the true book, true word. Now, even if you want to make a secular argument, if you want to throw out religion, the same thing applies. Look at history. Even look at relationship structures. Usually the relationships where the woman's like, oh, well, I'm the boss here. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out that well. Usually aren't that happy. Women are usually aren't happy in these positions where they're making a bunch of decisions. They're being the leader, this, that, and the third. It's not the natural position for a woman to be in. And you just look at the real world. I mean, give a woman 10 options, and she's like, oh my God, I don't know. What do I choose? I don't know. Women were not made to make decisions. In that regard, they're supposed to be helped and led by good men, not just any man. Because what happened is, men started declining, and by extension, women started declining, and men started telling women to do all these stupid things. Like, well, okay, hold on. Too much explaining needs to be done for that. I'll drop the point for now. Maybe I'll make another video. So since I dropped the point, I have to regroup to where I was before so I can make a new point that's more concise and easier to articulate within the time frame of this video, which is already pretty long. Actually, no, I'll just shift gears. Okay, I think I made my point there. Conservative values, traditional values, those are better. Even from secular worldview. Now, he was talking about some chick. I don't know who the chick is, but apparently, I didn't see the photo. But apparently some chick's like 50 or something, and she's posing in a bikini. And they said, well, you shouldn't be thirst trapping. Which no woman should be posing in bikinis on Instagram. I don't care how old you are. No. Okay? Modesty. Cover up. And then Piers was like, well, let me not use a Bible. Okay, let me use, here. He's holding a piece of paper. Well, look at her. I mean, is away from the camera, like, look at her. She's posing, in a beautiful bikini. She can look amazing, amazing. She looks beautiful. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, bro, aren't you a Catholic? It always circles back to this because what Andrew Tate is espousing are traditional conservative values. You could say it's embellished, right? But at the end of the day, they're still conservative values. And then Piers is being very liberal, very liberal. Like, oh, look at the woman in bikini. I mean, they both should agree on this point. You can say whatever about the sugar daddy stuff. But they should agree on this point. Women should not be on social media thirst trapping. They should be dressing modestly. They should agree on this based on Piers' worldview. Doesn't make sense. And Andrew Tate is right. Female modesty is female empowerment. Not this whole feminist stuff. It's like, well, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a degree. I don't want no man. I don't want no kids. It's like, bro, sweetheart, so many stories. You see it now. Because we're starting to get to the point where women who fell for this trap are getting to the stage where they're about to be out of it. Out of their prime, where they can't have kids anymore. Like, well, I need a man. I need to have kids. I need to have kids. Because their body's like, okay, their body the whole time has been suppressed by their brainwashing. Right? Let's put it like this. They have women, when they become fertile, they have biological desires. Okay, I need to have babies. I need to find a good man. But they're brainwashed, so the biological desires are suppressed. And I need two hands to make this point. Let's see. Alright, this is going to be awkward, but let's do it like this. I don't have a mic stand. So, this is biological desire, and this is brainwashing. It beats it out. And then, to the point where they're about to be done being fertile, their body just shoots up, and it's like, okay, we need to have kids now, because soon I'm not going to be able to give you any kids. Okay, we need to have babies now. So these women are starting to realize when it's too late, they're already 30-something, they're about to be out of it soon. Like, well, I need a man. Then they realize, I fell for the trap. I have this degree, no man wants me, I'm older now, I'm not as pretty as I used to be, I made a mistake. You see it all the time. You see it on, like, these, I used to watch these compilation videos. I don't watch them anymore, but you see women all the time talking about this. It's a very sad thing. So, Tate is right. Female empowerment is having kids, being modest, this, that, and the third. Piers is just a liberal soy boy when it comes to this type of stuff. And I'll leave it at that because this video is quite long. So, those are my thoughts on the Piers Morgan Andrew Tate interview.